Hi, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Legacy Dent Company. I'm your host, Dean. Today, I'm going to be showing you how I set up my knockdown hammer, my knockdowns, and if you stick around in this video, you might get a chance to win everything that I'm setting up today. So, enjoy. All right, first off, let's start with our dead blow or knockdown hammer. I like to use the hammer backwards. A lot of guys use the hammer for their knockdown in the traditional sense, actually grabbing the handle, using the blow section of the hammer. But I was taught early on to flip the hammer upside down, place it into the palm, grip it, use that front finger for control, and this is actually what we strike the knockdown with. So this is how I use mine, so I'm going to be setting it up how I use it, and I'll be sending it out to the winner exactly how I use it. So let's remove the tag here. Now I like a really good grip on my hammers, and so I like to first put a good layer of hockey tape. This is just Eagle hockey tape. We're in Texas, and so the heat does affect certain tapes that you use for a grip or wrapping anything. The Tessa tape that we use often for our tips, that adhesive, it dries or it bleeds through in the summer. And so if you use Tessa tape for any kind of grip, your hands will get really, really sticky. So I like using this Eagles hockey tape, gives a good grip, and the adhesive doesn't bleed through. So I start off by wrapping a layer here. All right, just like a baseball bat. Okay. Well, there we go. So I like to put just a layer under here, and we're actually going to cover this layer with some heat shrink, but I like to put this layer here first. Then I like to cover up the T portion. So let's go right here. Let's go up and over, and up and over. All right, now the reason I like to put a little tape on here isn't for the grip. This really will soften up any of the noise. If you're in a shop full of guys as you're hammering, the last thing you want to be is the noisy technician that's just banging along things. And so to soften some of that noise up, I like to put a little tape up under the heat shrink. That's going to soften up some of that noise, soften up that blow. So first layer tape, and then let's go in and get us some heat shrink. And I just buy like all kinds of different sizes of heat shrink. Go on Amazon. I can put some links in the description down below, but I like to just measure out. Actually, we're doing the top with this one. No, we're going to do the handle with this one. Let's do this top section first. I just like to measure out right up to the edge and right in there. So not overlapping the edges of the hammer. What's the matter, baby?
It went off focus for like 15.
That's okay. Just tap the screen, get it focused again. We're good. But I will measure here. I'm going to find where it meets that edge. Let's cut this right in here. We're just going to cut a little arch. Okay, so we're going to cut ourselves a little arch here. That way we can slide this over the head. Just open up the whole ear, slide in one side, pull it up and over the other side, and now we'll have it loosely fitting on the head of the hammer right up here. Now let's shrink this puppy down. You want to do it evenly. There we go. Nice. All right, so the heat shrink in the summer, again, we're in Texas. I like to put heat shrink on just about every single tool, knockdown, everything that has a handle on my cart, on my R&I cart, polishing, everything gets heat shrink. It'll surprise you. Everything on my cart gets heat shrink. It's a great grip, it softens it up. Our hands in PDR are gonna get beat up, they're gonna get strong and calluses, and this kind of just helps give a good little grip and soften up that wear and tear over the years. So I like a good heat shrink on all of my tools, plus it adds a little bit of character to all of your tools. So, and if you ever have a tool next to a room full of techs, yours will stand out, and you'll know which one's yours by having it wrapped. So a little bit of heat shrink on the T-section here. Now we're gonna go to the handle, and I usually go right up here and then to the, oh, not quite to the top. There we go. But I do like to wrap the tape here, so let's heat this up. Right in there. Perfect. Now again, this softens up the blow. It's going to be a much quieter contact. It does help with control, so when you are making contact, we've got no slip. The plastic or anything that you're using, hammers, we're not slipping off the contact portion of these knockdowns. This is going to help you grip it and keep good control of that. Plus it'll soften up the noise. So, all right, so our hammer is all set. We got tape for comfort, heat shrink for noise and control, and we use our knockdown hammer backwards for contact and for hitting our knockdown. So there's our hammer. Next up is going to be our knockdowns. I like to find a little bit longer knockdown. If we're buying them from Dentcraft, get the 4-inch. The reason is I like to have a great sight picture from under my hands here when I'm looking at the dent and the metal that I'm working on, but I also like a little bit taller knockdown. So when I am striking my knockdown, my hand's not right in front of my face. So I like a little bit taller knockdown, so I start with the 4-inch knockdown, but then I like to add these 1-inch extensions from edgy, and so that's gonna give me a 5-inch clearance. So let's cut this here. So I like to add a 1-inch knockdown. If you can just straight up buy a taller knockdown, that's the way to go. There's a few on Amazon that are a little bit taller, but you got to be careful when you buy the knockdowns from Amazon. They have an M8 thread and not the 7/16 or 5/16. I forgot what we use here, but theirs is the M8, so be real careful on the knockdowns that you use on Amazon. But if you get the 4-inch from Dentcraft, add the 1-inch extension on here. Now once you add your tip, not only does that allow you to hold the knockdown a little bit higher, allows you to rest your hand on the panel, and now we have this great clearance down here, this sight picture for us to be able to look at the metal that we're affecting. Plus, when we go to strike it, our hand is up above our vision as well. Having that taller knockdown, it's up here where we make contact, so our hand doesn't get in our way, and we have a great picture down here of the metal that we're attacking and affecting. So I like a little bit taller knockdown. Now before I put any kind of tape or heat shrink on there, let's talk real quick about these knockdown tips. The 1, the 2, the 4, and the R4 cherry tip. These 4 tips are crucial, I think, for a PDR beginner. This is a great way for us to be able to get some definition, move some metal, and not mar the panel as much. As you're getting used to knockdowns like your VIP tip and stuff, this is a great safe option to be able to move some metal with definition, not mar the clear coat, but also these are fairly inexpensive. So $7 per tip. You're not having to purchase anything really expensive, but these are the DCT B1P, so that just basically means dent craft, and then the B1 and then P is for plastic, but the B1 is the sharpest. The B2, of course, we start to level up on the sharpness of our tips. Did you stop the recording?
No, it just...
Okay, you're good, baby. You're good.
Focus.
You're good.
At all.
Well, I'll stand back a little bit. Everybody get in the comment section down below and give my golly girl, my daughter, a round of applause. Let her know she's doing a really good job. So we got B4P, so 1, 2, 4, and then the cherry tip is a great tip. Every PDR beginner should have this R4 cherry tip in their arsenal. This is a great way to go in and initially shrink a dent or soften up the dent, and then you can go in and finish up a dent with a little bit sharper tip. But not only for pushing is the R4 a killer, but for knocking down as well. So you can soften up the crowns around a dent with this R4 cherry tip. Plus, again, they're all fairly inexpensive tips. I usually keep, 10 or 12 of each one of these on hand at all times. Now, a little tip, because these are plastic, if you start to wear down these tips, it's either going to be because you're hitting too hard or it's not the right tip for that occasion. So it seems like you would want to use a sharper tip, the 1 or the 2, to really go after some definition. But if that little feature has a little pressure in it and you're noticing that you're having to hit a little bit harder or you're wearing down your plastic tips, then that just means that's just not the right tip for that occasion. So watch for those and watch for those features, those red flags, and start learning how to switch up the tip in that moment. I promise you we're going to do a knockdown video and I'll go more into depth on that. But these plastic, although plastic, should last you, a pretty good while on each one of these. So we've got these 4 knockdowns. Now on all of my knockdown tips, I like to add an O-ring. The O-ring is going to help us for when we do add it to our knockdown. It's going to give this thread a lot better chance of grabbing. So put the O-ring on. When we go to twist this on, it's right in between. As it makes contact, I just twist just a little bit harder. And now as I use my knockdown, this tip is not going to back out. It's not going to unthread. It's not going to back out. It's not going to be loose. I want to make sure that I have great control of my knockdown tips at all time. And so the O-ring is just a great way to ensure that your tips stay on your knockdown. So let me take this back off real quick and I'll show you what I like to do with my knockdown. Now that my extension is on there, again, I like to take my hockey tape and I'm just going to do one little layer all the way across, right up to the top here. Okay, so little layer of tape. Then I like to get my smaller tubing of heat shrink. Let's go ahead and measure this out, about right in here, right there. I like my extension to show just a little bit. Lets me know that I'm using a knockdown with an extension. Let's see. So let's get this on here. Oh, I did a little uneven, huh? There we go. heat. Perfect. Now, if you ever see my cart has heat shrink on everything but my knockdowns besides my blending hammer. My blending hammer is my favorite tool. It changed my life. Number one tool on my cart. The number one tool as PDR guys is your light. Your light's your number one tool. But on my cart, my blending hammer is my favorite tool. Now my second favorite tool or accessory, I guess, are my knockdowns. I got 2 holders chock full of knockdowns. I love my knockdowns. I like to have a knockdown for every single tip. So it's almost like my jar of paintbrushes. I have a bunch of knockdowns. I heat shrink, tape every single one of them. I put O-rings on every single tip. And you want to check in on your O-rings every once in a while too. They tend to dry out and get a little bit old, so they get brittle. So every once in a while, check in on your tips and make sure you got fresh O-rings on all of them. Now, if you enjoyed this video, or if you want to share any kind of tips or trips, feel free to get down into the comment section down below. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe to the channel, you like this video, you head over to either Facebook or Instagram and you go on one of my recent posts. Like, follow, any kind of comment. If I can see that you're on multiple platforms, and down in this comment section down below, of course, and sharing this video, if I see any of that stuff, you're entered into this giveaway. And in the next video, I'm gonna pick a lucky viewer and I'm gonna be giving away the Dead Blow Knockdown Hammer, the Knockdown, and all of these tips with O-rings, exactly how I use it. I lost an O-ring. Oh, I put 2 on this one. 2 on this one. Next video, I'll announce a winner. If you're in the PDR beginners group, I've already got another giveaway going right now where I'm giving away a starter set from A1. It's got a rod, it's got, I want to say a side loading tool, it's got some brace tools, a short hand pick, I believe, straight tool. If you're in the PDR beginners group, I've got that being announced very, very soon, along with this giveaway of the knockdown, the 4 tips, the Dead Blow Hammer. I'm also going to be throwing in a Willy Quick Dent Poppers pack of glue. So if you like this video, like this video. I'm really grateful for all the support. I couldn't say anything more than that. Thank you for everything, you guys. Stay tuned for the next video. Now work hard. Go be great.